Warning. Censorship. Warning. Censorship. Warning. Censorship. Warning. Censorship.
Good afternoon. I think we can say that, Sheila, even though you're in the past. Back to the future. Welcome to Rebel News Live. We are here to take your super chats, your questions, go over the daily news stories and our latest videos. Sheila, would you like to explain the super chat process for those who are new here?
Do you know what? I would love to explain the super chat process. I've been waiting all morning to explain the super chat process.
Perfect.
However, I would really appreciate it if Mr. Producer Justin would put the live stream feed into Skype so that I can see what the heck is going on.
No,
if he
you don't
can't,
wanna see
that's
me.
fine. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see. Anyway, with regard to the live stream and the super chat, I may as well tell everybody what we're doing here today. However, we have a very lively bunch who tune in just about every single day, who completely know the drill. They're well-trained, carefully curated viewers, and we love them. But we do something here every single day of the week that the mainstream media would never do, and that's interact directly with our supporters, our viewers, and our donors. And we allow them to interact with each other, too, in the live chat, which is, I mean, it's spunky. There's a lot of people who are, commenting and talking to each other, and friendships are growing and bonds are happening there. But this live chat actually gives you a chance to support us completely willingly, unlike what the mainstream media expects of you. They expect Justin Trudeau to take your money from you and then give it back to them to support work that you don't like and would never support on your own. You can do something called a super chat, and that's a donation to us. Now, YouTube takes it's like 30%, but it's their platform. That's just, I suppose, the cost of doing business with YouTube. And the more money you donate, the more characters you get. And it'll highlight your comment to the top of the screen so that everybody else can see it now, but also later if people are rewatching the stream. And Mr. Producer Justin, who, thank you very much, put the live stream feed into my Skype so I can see what's going on. He'll send those to us in a message, and I will do my best to address it. We'll read it aloud on air. Maybe it's a question for Andrew. Maybe it's a comment. Maybe it's an insult. Maybe it's a compliment. Maybe it's a topic you want to put on our radar. But now's your chance. And this is a little bit of, I guess, democratization of the stream, where you have the opportunity to direct the show and take it in whatever direction you like.
Wrestling comments always encouraged with Sheila and I, of course.
Yes.
So big news in Ontario that came out today, Sheila. I don't know if you saw this yet, but some new COVID numbers came out. They're stupidly shocking, as you would imagine they would be, in the sense that the government, I don't know if you want to say they've been misleading us or just omitting information, but completely blows any necessity for complete shutdowns of retail or bars and restaurants out of the water. Justin, if we can pull up that first link with the numbers, I believe it's the Toronto Sun has these numbers that they released. And like I said, they're shockingly low. They're not, it's 0.1% of COVID cases in Ontario have come from the retail sector. For some reason, I can't say retail, it seems, Sheila. So 0.1% of cases in Ontario, of 116,000 cases, are from retail. And that's just not people coming in. That's the employees of retail shops as well. So that's 106 in total, which is a shockingly low number, Sheila. And then if we scroll down, we can see the numbers for restaurants and gyms as well, which are also incredibly low. So in response to this, a bunch of the businesses, the big box businesses, I guess you could call them, like Canadian Tire and like Hudson's Bay Company, who are no longer selling pelts and furs, I'd imagine. They have been shut down in some areas. And so they penned a letter to the government saying, how about you open up some of our stores here based on these numbers that have now come out, which of course the government would have had to known before this came out in the news cycle. So they've known about this, but they've shut it down anyways. So a bunch of different companies here have requested that they allow them to open to prevent people from going across different zones. And, theoretically, even though that's also not been proven to happen, people would be going across zones and spreading the virus elsewhere. So they're saying, let us open up with safe, limited capacities, however they want to speak, so that they sound like they're being super friendly. And in response to that, Christine Elliott says no, it's too dangerous to open up these stores. She's laughing in the face of this evidence. She says, shutdowns are an important part. We don't like doing the shutdowns, you guys.
Sure you don't.
We don't like doing the shutdowns, but it's something that has to happen to stop the spread of the virus. Keeping in mind that shutdowns have not been proven to work. In fact, there's information that goes both ways. You can show that it's basically kept things the same or escalated it, depending on where you look, so there's no concrete evidence. The WHO, whom, as you know, is our gods, is our overlords, because Theresa Tam sits on one of their boards, and she's also one of our ruling leaders in the new, I don't know if you want to call it pseudo-futuristic, fascist-friendly environment that we now live in.
It's the public health oligarchy that we all live under now.
Exactly. It's a weird steampunk future that we're in now, where everything's shaped like Justin Trudeau's socks, I think. So we're not listening to Theresa Tam anymore. We're not listening to the WHO, which she comes from. We're listening to what Christine Elliott and Doug Ford, who are not listening to the science anymore. But these lockdowns are necessary because why, Sheila? Adamson Barbecue has to be shut down because why? The golf simulator place has to be shut down. The gyms have to be shut down, even though it's literally in the low hundreds of all the cases. Not even deaths, not even ICU visits. This is just cases, which are a fraction, 0.1%, Sheila. That's what we're doing here. Tell me there's something I'm missing.
I can't. This is the first time that I'm seeing these numbers. I try to get through Alberta news before noon. And then Western Canadian news, and then I sort of make my way over to Toronto news by the afternoon. So this is the first time I'm seeing these numbers. They're absolutely not shocking, actually, given what's unfolding here in Alberta. What is sort of surprising is that in the face of this indisputable data, that your so-called conservative government is continuing to lock down businesses and scapegoat them as super spreaders of a disease that they are absolutely not super spreaders of. I think it was 200. I was trying to write it down as it was scrolling past my screen. 206 cases are linked to gyms. That doesn't actually mean that they came from the gyms, like that the spread happened at the gym. It could have been, somebody who worked at the gym who caught it somewhere else, caught it at a social gathering, whatever. And 227 cases in the entire province of Ontario. I think it was almost 117,000 cases, but only 227 of those are linked to restaurants. And yet, because of those 227 cases, the entire industry is being flattened, and a man spent a night in jail because he refused to participate in this unscientific nonsense. By the way, if Hudson Bay actually sold furs, I'd probably still shop there. That's all I have to say.
I think Canada Goose is probably the closest you're going to get to that. What that is made of, I'm not sure. Could be fox, could be moose.
Coyote.
Coyote?
It's coyote. Yeah, and the hippies are real mad about that. But I mean, it's funny to see, like, Alberta recognized that, okay, the spread is not happening in restaurants. We're going to keep them open. We'll reduce capacity so that people can continue to social distance in them. It's not happening in retail. Again, we'll reduce capacity so people can continue to social distance in them. And that was relying on the scientific data. And yet in Ontario, the same things are playing out on the ground there, and they're doing something totally different. And in Alberta, we had a premier apologize for reacting completely the wrong way and is now following the science. And yet in Ontario, you guys have a premier who's like, well, we reacted this way the first time around. Didn't really work. We decimated an entire industry. You know what? Let's do more of that. And here we are in the Christmas season. You've got restaurants, retailers, everybody closed. Well, of course, except for the big box stores. This is the big box store pandemic. That's what it is.
Well, I was discussing with cameraman Lincoln earlier, whom you've all come to know and love through the barbecue fiasco and other events, that there's got to be some sort of money making going on here. If we're just now we've done it already and it didn't work, we're doing it again, but also the science says that it's not affecting anything. There's got to be some sort of money that we're not seeing at play here. And something I mentioned to him was Justin Trudeau has been playing this very well. Obviously, I'm not a Trudeau supporter by any means, except for his hair, obviously, you know, as everyone else is. But he's been playing this very well. He's letting these supposedly conservative premiers dig their own graves and lose their own fan base, if you want to call it that, their populist base. He's just sitting there and saying, all right, everybody control your own stuff, which is usually what you do when you govern states or provinces. Doug Ford digging his own grave. Winnipeg, or Manitoba, Saskatchewan, they're just not doing what they were elected to do. And Justin Trudeau gives Doug Ford all this money to shell out to electric car facilities. Doug Ford's writing checks to teachers' unions, he's writing them to nurses' unions, and then Doug Ford turns around and smacks him in the face the other day by saying, how come we don't have a plan? Which is what the media, it's a fine point for the media to make, or other people to make, that there's no real plan for the vaccines. But Doug Ford's getting this treatment from liberals, and then he turns around and smacks him in the face, and then on the other hand, I'm trying not to say he does something he defecates on his populist base by keeping them shut down and going exactly against what he campaigned on. So now, not only is he slapping people who once agreed with him that no longer do, he's doing it on both sides. So maybe he thought he was going to get fans that were liberals and liberal voters by doing all this stuff, but now he's turning his back on Justin Trudeau, who's giving him what he wants. And I would say that Justin Trudeau should give him a call and say, you know, Doug, for all Canadians, I don't like you. Why are you saying this thing to me? And I just don't know what's going on in Ford's head. And his cabinet has got to be spinning their wheels here saying, what are you doing? But Christine Elliott's backing him up. Stephen Lecce's going to do exactly what he wants him to. And then he's going to go to the podium today and say buddy 5 times and say my friends another 16 times and pretend like nothing's wrong. And then just when a tough question comes up, he's going to pawn us off onto a doctor who nobody has elected and take none of the blame, Sheila.
Well, and, you know, Doug Ford also thinks, well, now this like hardline stance against the Liberals for not having a plan, does he really think that that's going to bring back the Ford Nation people? Like, does he think they're hard of remembering literally everything that he's doing to them like yesterday? Of course not. I mean, it takes for granted, and it's sort of insulting to the intelligence of regular conservative voters in Ontario that Doug Ford thinks, oh, well, I can just take a hardline stance against Trudeau for flubbing the vaccine procurement, rollout, distribution in the future, of course, that's going to make it all better. It's not. He's leveling entire industries. You know, when you talked about the popularity of some of these conservative premiers, Jason Kenney's having a bit of a struggle right now in Alberta, even though I think, all things considered, I mean, he's done some things that I've definitely disagreed with, and I'll be the first one to say that. But he's having a struggle popularity-wise in his handling of the pandemic. But as is most things between Alberta and Ontario, most of the disappointment comes by way of people saying he didn't handle this conservatively enough. And, you know, while from the outside looking in, other provinces looking in at us, you know, Jason Kenney didn't lock us down. And, you know, there's cries for lockdowns. And why isn't Kenney mandating masks completely as a blanket all across the province? In Alberta, the sentiment is he, even still, where he's taking these targeted measures, in Alberta, it's more like you needed to do even fewer things and to take even fewer targeted measures. It's completely the opposite of what we're seeing in other places in the country.
Well, what I see for people who are right of center or claiming to be that are pro more lockdowns, I feel like this is aligning with neocon sort of territory where it's, I like conservative values, but I also like the government to tell people that I disagree with what to do. That's what I'm seeing. Now, you had mentioned, do you want to set up the Manitoba mayor, whom I saw a picture of? The story wasn't completely clear to me. He and Bexley and Mocha went to Winnipeg, I believe it was, to showcase how in Walmart the Christmas decorations and anything you wanted to do with Christmas was shut off, closed off in Walmart. Can't buy any shoes, can't buy any Christmas decorations. Yanked it out of his hand, out of his cart. And with all this craziness going on in Manitoba, it appears that the mayor of which city, Sheila, was caught?
Winnipeg.
As so many politicians are, caught breaking their own rules. You want to talk more about that?
Sure. And it's not really a huge story, but it's one of those things that, like, all these lockdown mayors and lockdown politicians and lockdown unelected health bureaucrats, they have this big set of rules that they want you to follow, but not them. And Winnipeg is one of the most restrictively locked down places, I would suggest, in the entire country. I mean, the province of Manitoba and Brian Pallister has their little hit list of victims, I guess, which sort of makes our work kind of easy because we know who to reach out to and contact. But the mayor of Winnipeg, who is, if it were even possible, worse than Nenshi, I think, on a good day, and as bad as John Tory, he took to his Instagram to tweet your generalized keep calm and stay home Winnipeg.
Very virtuous.
Provincial, yes, of course. Mayor Brian Bowman Instagrammed, I guess. Provincial officials have announced COVID-19 case counts in Manitoba have reached 16,000 to date. To put this into perspective, this exceeds the maximum attendance for a hockey game at Bell NTS Place. Okay, great. It's also, bigger than my hometown. Who cares? Like, that's sort of like a bizarre context to put it in. But anyways, wash hands, wear a mask, stay home as much as possible. And then literally, this is him and his family an hour and 45 minutes away from Winnipeg. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. An hour and 45 minutes away. Stay home as much as possible. Great family hiking today on McGilvery Falls Self-Guided Trail, Travel, Manitoba. And then the next person write down. Yesterday you posted for Winnipeg to stay home, and yet you post these pictures. Practice what you preach. Go for essentials is what officials say, as well as you. Go out only for essentials. Why should we stay home when our mayor doesn't follow his own advice? Yeah. I mean, it's so brazen. Like, literally the next post, he's like, oh, here I am, an hour and 45 minutes away from Winnipeg, enjoying some time with my family. But you have to stay under house arrest, Winnipeggers, Winnipegtonians. I don't know what they are. Don't send me emails. Don't.
You started something that you don't want to start.
I'm going to get emails. Anyway, but yeah, that's the hypocrisy. It's just like Mayor John Tory wearing his mask around his chin like it's a beard, like he can even grow facial hair. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's all the same. It's all the same. These people want one set of rules for the little people. And I guess locking us up in our homes makes it easy for them to just enjoy all the places of the world without having to deal with us unwashed masses getting in their way.
I was going to say, don't you say David Menzies' tagline on us now. I was just writing down all the leaders that have broken their own rules. There's John Tory, there's him, there's Doug Ford, there's Bill de Blasio, there's Governor Cuomo, there's the governor of California, there's the female governor of Michigan, one of those states.
Yeah.
There's Nancy Pelosi, there's Chuck Schumer, there's Justin Trudeau. Yep. This is all off the top of my head, Sheila. All I wrote down was Tory.
Patty Hajdu. There's Sam Oosterhoff. I mean, there's so many. It's endless. Anyways, if anybody would like to help us, call on Justin Trudeau to fire Patty Hajdu for 1,000 different reasons, but just one of them being that she broke her own COVID rules. Please go to firepatty.com.
Our own JT is forcing us to do super chats now. He hasn't sent them to me, so I'm guessing he means you.
He means me. Ian McEachern gives us $2. I don't see a super chat, Ian. That's very generous. Leard Kintyre gives us $2. Rex Murphy nailed it in his latest article. We must read. I pulled it up on my computer. I shared it to my Facebook yesterday. The National Post article is Rex Murphy, Adamson Barbecue, and the Epidemic of Snobbery. And this is Rex Murphy existing inside my brain because I don't think this is about public health. I don't think it's about anything. I think it's about a class war. It's the makers being locked down and facing losing everything. and the takers and the governing class and the sneering class and the opining class who are losing nothing, looking down their smug noses at these blue-collar people who are not following their rules. And it's the same sort of snobbery that, as Albertans, we experience all the time when people say, well, you should have saved for a rainy day. Look at your trucks and all your quads and your snowmobiles. And it's like, well, yeah, we earned those. That's how we spend our money. Sorry, we didn't buy, like an $11,000 handbag. We bought a dirt bike. That's just the things that we like to do. It's the same kind of snobbery, but Rex highlighted that Cheryl DeNovo, the lady that Ezra and I talked about on the live stream the day that Adam Skelly was arrested. And, she said that she was sort of outraged that a third-rate ribs place in what looks to be a used car parts mall. Like, that lady's ever been to a Napa or a part source, by the way. There's no way. Has become the picture of freedom for some. What a smug
cameraman
lady.
Alex and I were walking up to Adamson Barbecue, some woman behind us was passive-aggressively saying to us that this neighborhood used to be nice until all the white trash no-maskers showed up. First of all, this lady looked like she was from a trailer park herself. Secondly, it's not like the greatest neighborhood, sorry to tell you. But thirdly, they're bringing business to your neighborhood. It's an independently owned place. They're bringing business and excitement and trying to spread freedom. And you're just like, how dare all these people walk here and try to stand up for their rights. I guarantee if Black Lives Matter or the climate activist walked down her street, she'd be clapping and raising a fist in the air as if it was a Public Enemy video in 1992, Sheila. Now that's a reference.
These super smug people that...
Super smuggers?
Super smuggers. Yeah, exactly. Is their problem with Adam Skelly the real estate in which he works? Or is it the fact that he sells affordably priced food that isn't overcharged medallions of something or other on a bed of kale for $100 a plate?
I think it's that they think that he's endangering people's lives and therefore doesn't care. He's only looking, how dare he only look out for his family, Sheila, when he could be infecting 0.1% of the population, of not even the population of the cases.
Yeah. Rex Murphy's so smart. Said, why would anybody want a guy from the barbecue class making Toronto or Ontario's, for that matter, or Canada's health policies, especially one with unfashionable headgear? If he'd only ditched the cap and gone for more vivid sock wear instead, that would have been the ticket. Yeah.
And that's the thing. There were hipsters at this protest. I talked to a guy who was so nice and he had a nice dog. But if you didn't know any better, he was AJ from the Backstreet Boys, but with his tiny toque and his ripped jeans. He looked like AJ from the Backstreet Boys. But there's not just people in plaid jackets spit and chew into a Tim Hortons cup at these protests. In fact, I saw no chew at all, Sheila.
I'm disappointed.
There's white, black, Chinese, Indian. There's everyone who has a support for small businesses. There's women who are 50 and 60. There's women who are 25. There's people, a lot of Serbians, by the way, and other people from former Yugoslavia that don't like where this is all headed. So there's people from all walks of life, and this is what happens when the mainstream media characterizes it in whatever way they please. Hence why they are subject to the other side of the street. Keeping in mind, of course, they at one point were directly across the street where you could see all the protesters. They then moved to an angle like this so that they could only see the police and you couldn't see the large crowd of people on the other side.
Perspective is everything, isn't it?
Indeed.
Okay, we should keep reading. Grant GTI gives us £5. Rebel News is a very rare gem. Much appreciated. Your unbiased reporting. Love from Scotland. I appreciate the comment. Appreciate the super chat. I just want to tell you that I don't think that we would ever claim that we are unbiased. I know I'm not.
Sheila.
I know I'm not. I think we're just honest about it. The mainstream media and the left-wing media, they're all biased too, but they present themselves as this, aloof, completely neutral bunch of thinkers and reporters. They're not. They just, cloak their liberal bias in the veneer of being completely impartial. And, that could never be true. Everybody has a point of view, and ours is conservative. I think even at the network, some of us would disagree on certain things, and that's what makes us diverse, because diversity is our strength, or so our sock-wearing prime minister tells us. So I mean, I don't think we're unbiased. I think we're just honest, which is the best way to be, because if I lied to you and said, oh no, I'm just straight down the line, I think I would be insulting the viewer. You guys know exactly where I'm coming from.
It's easier to be honest than to try to keep track of your lies.
Oh, you've been watching Judge Judy. She always says that.
Not for a few years. The cases are real, Sheila. I don't know what the problem is here.
The cases are real and the rulings are final. Pink Phoenix Nails gives it $2. And this is a beautiful segue, Pink Phoenix Nails, because I have to talk about this. You ask, Sheila, where do you buy that shirt?
Oh.
And this shirt, my Sell the CBC shirt, part it out like an old minivan. Take the pieces, sell it, put it on Kijiji, put it on Facebook Marketplace, whatever, get rid of it. Make those journalists survive in the private sector. I mean, CBC is one of the places where you can actually fail upwards. Like Rosie Barton gets sort of booted off her show because whatever. And she gets a new show. Wendy Mesley, she uses the N-word in a staff meeting, and she's just took a break, probably a paid break, and she'll be back. So anyways,
Joy Reid from MSNBC had a incredibly anti-gay blog, and she got her own show as well.
Yeah, just failing upwards in the mainstream media. But let's talk about the shirt, because I'm very excited to tell everybody about our brand new Rebel News store. So I think it's rebelnewsstore.com. We've completely redone the whole store. It's, great pictures, new designs, timely designs too. No, these people don't work for us. These are models, but the designs are very timely. We already have our Adam Skelly barbecue shirt in there. The shirts are really great too. They wash like a rag. Like the printing stays on. And right now at the store, because if you want to sort of boycott the Amazon lockdown and support Canada's largest independent news network, Rebel News, I've got good news for you, because we have free shipping all across North America right now, which if you're in the West, that's great, because sometimes I will pay $15 shipping on a $25 shirt. And it takes forever to get to you. So I don't understand why I'm paying $15 for shipping that takes, forever. But, oh, my phone's going off. But we've got free shipping across North America. And if you would like to support your favorite journalist in a little internal contest we have going here at Rebel News, you can use coupon code Sheila10 for a 10% discount. So that's a great deal, because you get free shipping all across North America and a 10% discount, and you get to show support for a small business like us here at Rebel News, and you get to boycott the Amazon lockdown and the Walmart lockdown. You can do that at rebelnewsstore.com. It's got something there for every conservative in your life or the liberals you want to annoy. And to be fair, Andrew also has his own coupon code. It's Andrew10.
I don't need your promotion, Sheila, okay?
I'm throwing you a bone here.
On my own. Okay, something, just quickly on the store, something that I've always been envious of a company and website, Barstool Sports, was their ability to get up a T-shirt in seconds. Something funny is said on a podcast or on a show by their CEO, and they get a T-shirt up. Now we can do that. Now we got this guy named Julian, shout out Julian, and we've got people like Alex in the back making designs that we can throw up these Absinthe Barbecue T-shirts that are pretty sweet really quickly. And I really like the blue on that hoodie as well.
It's great.
So we can throw up these new merch items really quickly and get it out there. And like you said, there's free shipping right now. And I don't know, I'm just really happy about that. I'm happy to see the ideas go from drawing board to website right away. Now, what I was trying to write on this was my promo code, which is Andrew10, ANDREW 10, everybody. Now, as we all know and can probably predict, this is a slanted playing field. It's crooked from the start. Sheila and David already have had shows since I don't know how long. So I'd just like to point out right now that it's crooked. It's a rigged system. Sheila and David are probably going to fudge their numbers on this and lie about it. I just want you guys to know that I won't. And if you use my promo code and send me a screenshot of it, I will send you a message back. David doesn't even know how to use a computer. He's not going to do that.
No.
So Andrew 10 is the real promo code. I'm not even sure that I will say. I was going to say, I don't think Sheila's code even works. That's too far, Sheila, all right? We're in wrestling territory now. We've got to cut our own promos. We've got to come at each other's throats. I'll wear the Ric Flair robe. I don't know what costume you want to wear.
The Macho Man purple robe.
Very
I have a
good.
purple blanket that I shuffle around the house in on Saturday mornings because my husband is like the stingiest guy with the furnace. And so I have this purple like blanket and I shuffle around and I talk like Macho Man until somebody lets me touch the thermostat. Anyways, I'm not going to cheat, viewers at home. I'm not able to cheat. I can't fudge the numbers, but you all know I'm a t-shirt aficionado and I know a good t-shirt when I see one, and these Rebel News t-shirts are great quality. They wash well. The logo stays on when you throw them in the washer and the dryer. And again, that coupon code, if you want to support one of the hardest working journalists in media, me, please use coupon code Sheila10.
I'm
Thank
going to
you.
hire Chris Sky to make a promo for me, is what I think.
SHEILA 10. Thank you. RebelNewsStore.com. Okay, let's get through more of these super chats.
Let's get to, did Kean go to a lockdown protest? I'm not sure I've seen that one. We know he went to Walmart. We know he outed Winnipeg, Manitoba for their silly rules here. And we've been going to a lot of anti-lockdown protests lately. The one that I was at, Randy Hillier, got ticketed afterwards, which was interesting when you start ticketing your own parliament. Doug Ford. It's kind of crazy, Sheila. Have you in your lifetime ever seen something like that? One government official fining another?
One government official, like one conservative government fining a conservative politician for being critical of the measures that conservative government was taking. It was like a lot of twists and turns, but I think it formed an infinity loop of madness. Yeah, I mean, he was literally protesting where you take your protest if you want to protest the things the government is doing, right? Like Queen's Park. And they showed up and ticketed him for holding a political protest of the government where the government is. And he used to be the government.
I don't know. I don't know where else you're supposed to do it. I don't know what else you're supposed to do. But he started something that is ridiculous. It's just like when they impeached Trump. If you're going to do these things based on pretty much nothing, based on out of spite, then you've opened a door for now people to take the pettiest route possible, which is something you're supposed to try to avoid in politics, even if it's just under the table. You're supposed to try to avoid being publicly petty like that. But here we are, Sheila.
Yeah. You expect petty behind closed doors. You expect petty everywhere, to be honest, but just like a publicly petty like that, that's exactly how I would describe it. Now, let's breeze through a couple more super chats, and then we'll go to Kean's video. I think that's the one on the list where Kean attended a lockdown protest in Calgary. And it's interesting that you should point out that they were ticketing people for protesting the government in Ontario, because we saw no enforcement in Calgary at all, because they're not ticketing political protests in Calgary. Marilyn Walls gives us $5, no super chat. Keith Baxter, 1984, very clever, Keith. You didn't super chat us because the dollar amount says it all. Matthew W gives us $5. What about the under 10-year-old that Brian Pallister used to scare Manitoba? No proof of COVID existing, but he tosses it out now that it's a kid killer. Yeah, and I think actually that there was an announcement after the fact that that kid had a few
afraid.
pre-existing conditions. This wasn't, just your run-of-the-mill healthy little 10-year-old. Solid as a b-ball gives us $5. Will Rebel cover the PCR cycle threshold? Also, really disingenuous that mainstream media thinks people should like them. They were shocked at Adamson Barbecue. Yeah, that's true. They really were. They were like, what do you mean you don't like us? Because they don't get out there and encounter the real people. They don't interact with their viewers online. They exist in a social media bubble, like on Twitter, where you can filter out who you even see replying to you based on blue check marks. So, for them, it was shocking. I think for the first time, they were probably exposed to normal people not liking them. And I think some of them didn't handle it very well. And we will look into the PCR testing thresholds, because I know here in Alberta, Danielle Smith, she's a radio host in Calgary. She has been talking about it quite a bit. And I admit I don't know enough about it, and I should.
I did mention this in a video a couple months ago. It was about a study done across 3 states where they found that about only 10% of the people tested had enough of the virus in them for them to be contagious. So obviously the threshold for the testing was too low or too high. I'm not sure which one. But basically the testing was not showing how little contagion they would have coming from them. So it was only 10% of people who tested positive. Out of, I think, 45,000 people, only 4,500 of them had enough of the virus in them to be contagious. So people were arguing that the testing should be changed to a higher threshold to show that people who test positive might not necessarily be spreading it. But then, of course, they have the counter argument of asymptomatic spreaders. Even if you don't show any symptoms, you'll be spreading it, which is, I guess, technically true. But then should we not be wearing masks for all of time? Maybe I shouldn't even joke about that. But if we're now correcting for things that we can't even track or can't be aware of, what should we not be being cautious about, Sheila? Helmets while we drive is my next initiative.
If it saves one life is the argument that they're going to make. That's always the argument, right? We can strip away all your rights and make you do this totally stupid thing. But friend, if it saves one life, wouldn't you do it? Wouldn't you do it?
But at the same time, when you end up with a healthcare system like the UK, where they think they're very progressive, you literally have death panels where they decide who gets health care because it's for the betterment of society. So on one hand, a tiny amount of deaths is astronomical, but on the other hand, if you're not worth it financially, because all of a sudden we care about our taxes in that situation, it doesn't make any sense to me, Sheila. We're going insane, I think.
And don't kid yourself that those death panels aren't here already. Drea Humphrey has covered stories of people who have died because they were denied care because some bureaucrat somewhere said your care is non-essential, non-emergent in the time of the coronavirus pandemic full of empty hospitals. So it's already here. It's already happening. Let's keep going. Fraser McBurney gives us $10. While watching the fake news this morning, they all screamed 1,745 new COVID cases, bearing in mind we are all made to wear masks. I guess masks don't work, just like the studies say. Yeah. Ian Tuck gives us $10. Doug Ford is just a boss hog with less integrity. Boss hog.
I don't know what that means. What's that mean?
What is going on right now?
Boss hog?
From Dukes of Hazzard?
Dukes of Hazzard, Sheila? Come on.
Yeah. I know it's not politically correct to even watch that show anymore.
I don't have a problem with the content of the show from a offensiveness standpoint. I have a problem with the content of the show from an entertainment standpoint.
There are two Canadas. I live in one, you live in the other. Fraser McBurney.
The movie Overboard on loop, I think.
Fraser McBurney gives us $5. Hey, Albertans, if you want more lockdowns, then close your business and lay off your employees. Have fun. Bill Howie gives us $10 via True North. Toronto School Board opens class windows, which will give kids a cold, a comorbidity, and thus the COVID death rate for kids, killing kids to support the narrative and the Great Reset. I don't know if killing kids, you kill kids by opening the window. Also, Justin reminds us one more time, the way we should every single day, to remind you all at home to make sure that you like the stream, give it a thumbs up. It costs you nothing. It helps us a lot. It pushes us higher on the YouTube algorithm, and it helps other people find the work that we do here at Rebel News. So just give us a little thumbs up, and maybe even if you're so inclined, like and share this video. Just share it. Plunk it on your social media just so that other people can find us. Just help us spread the message.
Hit that bell too. I think you have to do it, Sheila. I think you have to point up in your left corner.
Is it? Where is it?
Should be up there. There you go. That's where it is.
Is it up there?
Yeah, I think so.
Ring the little bell.
And then social media guy Yankee will always love us if we say go follow the Instagram and Twitter and Parler. People email us about Parler. We're on there. I'm on there. We're all on there. It's a big happy family on Parler. Tell them, Yankee.
I'm on there. I don't know Parler. I don't know how to use it yet. I know I should take 5 minutes and figure it out. I'm pretty smart. I think I can figure it out, but it's just, do I really need to be posting on another social media? I don't know.
Aggregate, Sheila. It's the same as Twitter. So. They're just different symbols. Different color. It's red instead of blue. Think about it.
It feels like it's learning a new language. Okay, let's keep going. Kim Price Finnemore gives us $10. Everyone join Jesse and Christopher James at earthunited.global initiative stages of making global changes for justice in our world. Okay. Dewey gives us $5.49. How will Ontario 2022 elections go? Ford out. I don't know. I don't
think so. I think he loses votes. People go back to Liberals, and maybe some other people gain some ground, but I think it's just a narrower victory for Doug Ford.
Yeah, and I suppose it depends on what the new Conservative Party is going to do there. I mean, in Alberta, we had a revolt against our PC party because they moved too far left. I see the same thing happening in Ontario. The Wildrose organized, they became the official opposition, and then in one election, then the next election, they split the vote, and the NDP came up the middle. So you might get the Liberals back in if, in maybe 2 election cycles, if Doug Ford doesn't give his head a shake. Joowee, again, that's spelled Joowee, just so everybody knows that I'm not saying anything horrible, gives us $2.79, losing faith in the Conservative Party of Canada. I'm PPC from now on. Viking Insane gives us $5. Dr. Thomas Sowell has written dozens of books outlining the motives behind big government corruption. He's a must-read for free market conservatives. And for conservatives who care about the social impact of the welfare system on Black families. Rose, $6.99. The CBC is a culture of failure. Sell the CBC. Exactly. News Now Canada Independent Media gives us $5. It's Donald. I'll be in Toronto December 11th covering a freedom rally December 12th, but I am down for an interview with Rebel Media. Donald, you're the victim.
All, Rebel News.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just reading them as they come in. That's Donald Smith, who was a victim of Jonathan Yaniv. Noble Canadian gives us $10. When we throw cold water on someone to wake them up, there's a cold water way to wake up more Canadians to what's going on. Peacefully, of course, protests, and you guys are great, but any other ways? You know what? It's organizing. It's ground game. It's door knocking for politicians that you like and organizing against the ones you don't. But it's also withholding your political donations from parties that have promised you one thing and are doing another. Doug Ford.
A lot of the leftist organizations in the U.S. and in Canada have done a great job of organizing, albeit to coordinate their insane activities, especially when you AOC's people saying that it's okay to light buildings on fire. But nonetheless, they have organized and done so greatly in great numbers to get people like her elected, to get other insane people elected. There's 4 transgender politicians in the U.S. now. I mean, the Green Party has their weird leader now. You've got all these people now who have really organized together to try to get what they want. You see it in school boards, you see it in city councils where they make demands, which is really just getting power and hiring the companies that they like. But like I said, they're still doing it. It's something other center or right of center groups need to do and not just allow the crazies to take over the asylum.
Well, and there's some psychological argument to why conservatives are bad at this. And it's that we don't like to do things in groups. We're individualist by nature. That's why we're conservative. So it's hard to organize and set aside differences with a bunch of other people when you just want to be left alone and go your own way and do your own thing, right? It's antithetical to our political ideology to get together in a big group and sort of work together. Whereas the left, they're collectivists by nature. So this comes really naturally to them. For me, chanting in a group is a special circle of hell. Like, I'll only do it at church. I don't like it. And I think other conservatives feel the same way. We just want to be left alone. We're the leave me alone political ideology. Cindy McNichol gives us $20. I only buy T-shirt Revolution. I stopped buying from Aritzia. They actually called, getting both tops. Great. Dee Dee gives us $5. Andrew, get yourself a Dominion voting machine for the win. Yeah, get a Dominion voting machine to tabulate the coupon code usage.
Well, that's hilarious. All I need is a USB key, and I'll plug it in when it's connected to our store. And I think about 3 in the morning, you'll see 100,000 purchases using my coupon code come through. Can't question it, you guys. There's no evidence.
There's no evidence of fraud.
Disputed claim.
Yeah, Luke Venio gives us $5. I'm sorry, Sheila, but we want to hear that macho man voice.
We do.
Do you know what? If you guys buy a bunch of T-shirts using coupon code Sheila10 at rebelnewsstore.com.
No. You got to give it to him now.
No. I have to. It's a reward. If people buy some T-shirts, rebelnewsstore.com using coupon code Sheila10, you just might hear me saying in the macho man's voice, "Oh yeah," and snap into a Slim Jim. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I'll one-up you. You guys send me a screenshot using my code. You'll get a personalized message from Alex Jones. Me doing the impression. A personalized message from Alex Jones. Audio, obviously.
Andrew10 at rebelnewsstore.com. He could use your pity. Anyways.
Excuse me, Sheila Gunn Reid? I'm going to tell Kean Bexley about this. He's going to come to your house, and he's going to give you a talking to.
He's going to come to my house. We're going to have beers and eat beef jerky. It's going to be fine. Let's keep going. Marilyn Walls says she wants someone to shove a microphone in Elliot's face and demand her to prove it. Are we talking about the girl that was on the Trailer Park Boys?
Yes.
What's her name? That's how I know her.
Ellen Page, Justin says, now Elliot from E.T., I believe. It was funny. I was watching a live stream last night. They were talking about this, and shout out Pardis Soleil. They remember her from other movies and other shows. Juno is the only one I could name, but something else, maybe Kick-Ass, I don't know. But I remember her as Lucy from Trailer Park Boys, the original.
Not Lucy.
No?
She wasn't Lucy. She was...
or the Ricky's daughter?
No, not Ricky's daughter.
She wasn't Ricky's daughter.
No, I forget which kid
Justin?
she was.
Justin
Super
declines
chat.
my request for that knowledge and says super chats.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, she played a kid in one of the early seasons of Trailer Park Boys, and now she's gone from hard done by Hollywood lesbian to very privileged heterosexual white male.
It was like a year ago she came out as a lesbian. It's not enough. Who's just deciding this out in their 30s? She's like 33 years old. Oh, all of a sudden I realize that I'm gay, you guys. Oh, actually a year later I'm a guy now. Next year I'm a dragon.
It's interesting how she did go from hard done by Hollywood lesbian to now privileged white male. And so good luck with that. Anyways, yeah, she's 33. I think when I was 33, I had 3 kids and had been married for several years. It's funny how now the younger generation, it takes them like till their 40s before they truly come into themselves. Ryan Shantz gives us $34.99. Sheila, I just spoke to a truck driving school in Edmonton. The cost is $10,000, and they told me that funding is only available to immigrants and First Nations. Is this something that you'd be interested in hearing more about? Sure, send me an email or send it to tips@rebelnews.com, and I'll take a look at that. Georgie gives us $5. Who will Sheila sell the CBC to? Anybody who wants it. Anybody. I'm not particular. Just get rid of it.
All they need to keep is the Olympics sports coverage so we can hear Brian Williams. Wait, that's not Brian Williams. Brian, I don't even remember his name apparently, but the Olympics coverage is good. That's it though. But I don't want to pay for it. The advertising can pay for it.
Yeah. Andrew looks like he will be shooting a Just for Men's commercial later.
As in,
He looks like the after of a Just for Men's
thank you,
ad.
Sheila.
Like you look like the after. Yeah.
Unbelievable
Good.
comment.
Oh, the way you like tossed your hair right there, for sure. Put that on a promo reel for you. Monday, May gives us $5. The Great Reset is the fallen world's term for the Great Tribulation. Jesus warned us, is coming. End times prophecy is happening in real time. Luke Vigneault gives us $10. Benjamin Franklin once said, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Say it like Macho Man. Luke?
He paid for this, Sheila.
I need to see some t-shirt sales.
Unbelievable. See, with a promo code Andrew10, you won't have to wait for your impressions. You'll get them right away.
You know, the promo code for a Macho Man impersonation by me is Sheila10. SHEILA 10 at rebelnewsstore.com. Mike G gives us $5. Andrew, where do we get those cups? I'm dying. That's so funny. I think the combination of you two on the show together is my favorite dynamic duo. You. Do not tell David Menzies.
They don't like me insulting David Menzies as they like me being nice to you. But this cup is custom made. Oh, no, wait. We got it on there. Never mind. But mine got the wraparound thing that I had to make for me specifically.
And if people would like that cup, just go to rebelnewsstore.com and put in the coupon code Sheila10.
And if you want a specific design or idea, store at rebelnews.com, I believe is their email. Which is getting a huge influx of questions now because a lot of people are liking our stuff. I mean, you get a fancy store, people like it. I think we're all proud of it, Sheila, because we've all sort of been chiming in for months on what should be on there. We've decided which should be on there and what shouldn't be. And now that we've got...
Sheila10.
Just go ahead and type mine in there, Justin. He says no. This is rigged. I'm never going to get my fair cut here. The Dominion voting machine's coming, you guys. I'm pointing 2 pens at you now.
Death Punch 2335 gives us $5. I don't see a super chat. Ant Crazy gives us $5. Sheila, I got punted from Twitter. I guess Doug Fraud didn't like my mentions. Where else can I follow you? Follow us on Parler. I think we're all over there. Kim Price Finnemore gives us $5. Please join earthunited.global, folks. Amazing work resetting our current justice system in the world. God bless our patriots. Mark Jacobs gives us $20.99. Thank you for helping represent Canadians legally and being salt and light for the right in these strange times. You know what? This is a great segue because I have to mention something that is premiering. Justin, when is it premiering? Right after this?
Right after.
Okay, so right around 1 Eastern Standard Time or 11 out here in God's country, we are premiering a very big video, very, very, very big video that I did. The story started over a month ago, and it's about a church in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, who I have to tell you, I have been to the bombed out churches and the destroyed churches that fell behind the ISIS front lines in Batnaya, Kurdistan. And I've seen the destroyed churches. And I think this church is doing as much with as little as those churches there. This church in Prince Albert, it's downtown Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. If anybody knows anything about Saskatchewan and anything about Prince Albert, it is a town that is struggling, especially their downtown. Lots of addiction issues and homelessness issues, specifically hitting the Indigenous population in greater numbers. And this church is working down there. They were holding church services. They feed the poor. They try to house the poor. They clothe the poor. And they got a $14,000 social distancing fine. So I went to Prince Albert probably a month ago to start this story to see what we could do to help. And I think we have a clip But that video premieres right after we're done here. So if you're on this stream, stay with us because that video will be up right after.
We moved from there over to here so that we would be able to, social distance and to comply as well as we could, to the, reopen Saskatchewan guidelines. And then they handed us a ticket. I know that I was gifted to minister to the poor. Not everyone is gifted to minister to the poor. Not everyone. And I don't judge Christians for not reaching out because they're just not gifted to reach out to people that are just like crazy lives, And so I know that I was gifted at that time. The Lord gave me the gift of mercy, and that's been part of the reason why I've been able to persevere, because when you know you're called to do something, then there's no turning back. You can't back down from the government.
I look forward to watching this because I pointed out the other day, I don't get to see Sheila out and about like that all the time. She's been covering these protests, but these interviews, I want to see more from you, Sheila, using Andrew 10 promo code on a t-shirt while you do the interviews would be preferable, I think. Do we have more super chats, or can we?
Yes, we do have more super chats. We have two more, I think. But I also want to direct people to fightthefines.com.
Yes.
That's where you can help us help this church. This church, taking $14,000 out of their bottom line, heading into Advent, heading into the coldest, worst part of the winter in Saskatchewan. It's absolutely atrocious. And when you see the church building itself, it'll break your heart. It's just so callous what the city of Prince Albert and the province of Saskatchewan have done to Pastor Vern Temple's church. If people would like to help us help them fight back, they can do that at fightthefines.com. And again, that premieres right after this, so please stay tuned. Okay. Cole Chimluski. I'm sorry, my Polish is not so great. $2. Andrew, the big tough guy. Hey, I think so. Alex gives us $5. Political offices are essential, so could a candidate designate a random business as an office and allow it to open? Why don't they just let them open instead of doing little tricky things? Why don't you just let them open? But yeah, it's an interesting idea. Mr. Hammer Dance gives us $2.23. This super is to buy the CBC. That's all it's worth. Very good. Very good. I think, Andrew, we should get to your video that you did that is in the queue. Is that what you wanted to get to?
I wanted to get to promoting my show that's coming, Sheila, since we got to get out of here by 1. Justin, if you could pull that graphic up. I am so thankful and grateful for having my own show, and thankful for Dave Rubin being my first guest on it. That is going to air Saturday afternoon. I don't have an exact time, but it's a full-length interview. It's almost like a podcast, Sheila, which is why I'm so happy about it, because I got to talk to him about a bajillion different things. We talk about the state of political discourse. We talk about the lockdowns. We talk about Joe Biden. And Dave Rubin's got some hilarious comments about CBC. So thank you for everyone who made that happen. Thank you to producer Justin. Thank you to producer Efron, graphics guy Mike, Nicole for helping me hammer out how to get guests properly. So thank you to everyone who helped me do that. And that's going to be this Saturday. And we've got more guests lined up. It's not just the one big name of Dave Rubin. We've got great people coming in the subsequent weeks, and even maybe if Sheila changes her promo code, I will have her as a guest eventually. Sheila, thoughts?
No. However, I'm very excited to see this because I know you have some big things in the works, and that's what I kind of like about Rebel News is that, I have my show and David has his show and Ezra has his fully produced every single night Ezra Levant show. We all kind of do something a little bit different. And so there's something at the network with our full-length shows that will appeal to you. And if people want to get access to our paywalled shows, they can do that at rebelnews.com/subscribe. I have a show on Wednesday night. It's aptly called The Gun Show. David Menzies has Rebel Roundup, where you sort of see your rebels in an unscripted environment talking about their favorite stories of the week. And Ezra, again, has his fully produced I mean, it's kind of shocking the amount of work that goes into the Ezra Levant show every single day, but he gets that up, and it's only $8 a month for people to subscribe. And, you know, like my show, I try to talk to lesser known newsmakers and activists in the conservative movement. You're obviously headhunting the big names, which is kind of exciting. And, you know, like I said, there's something there for everyone. And I think it's worth every penny just for Ezra's show. But you get all that other extra content. And that is at rebelnews.com/subscribe to join today. And it's
Mine's
one of those
outside
good.
of the paywall right now. So
I know yours is outside of the paywall, but I'm just talking. I'm just talking about, you know, like our full length produced shows. There's a lot of work that goes into those.
Yeah.
And if people want to support the amount of work that we put into these shows, why not give yourself a little Christmas present by getting yourself a Rebel News Plus subscription at Rebel News Plus.
Oh, I thought
Go ahead.
I thought your
.com.
promo code was coming there. That's why. I was laughing.
My promo code? For those of you who don't know it, it's Sheila10.
Justin's fingers are bloodied and calloused from all the work you're making him do, Sheila. So, okay, we've got super chats. Enough of my jokes, I guess. We've got to go because people want to see that video. I want to see that video of yours.
It's great. Christina Pabloka gives us $20.99. Thank you guys for your great job. Thank you very much. Same one again. Christina Pabloka, thank you guys for your great job. And a protected package gives us $3, and I don't see a super chat. And that's it. We're all done. Andrew, wrap up the show so that everybody can get over and watch that video about the poor pastor, Vern Temple.
Thank you for watching. Thanks for all your super chats. Thanks for your comments about my hair and beard. It's not going to be on this exact stream. You've got to go into the video tabs or the homepage of Rebel News on YouTube and watch the video there. Support everyone at Rebel News. Follow us on Parler now. We're on there. We've all got Instagrams as well. Yankee will thank us for that. Thank you, producer JT. Thank you, Sheila, and everyone for watching. Have a great day.
Sheila10. Sheila10. Coupon code.